What's up, girl?
After an old friendship evolved into romance, she started turning her troubled life around.
It was just something about him. She loved him so much. It's like her goals had changed. She was starting to get on the right track.
But she would never get a chance to see her dreams come to fruition.
They left her to bleed out.
What kind of monster does that? That was pure torture.
Had her past come back to haunt her?
There was a story about her ripping off some drug dealers.
She owed $15,000.
This guy had been very public about his desire to get revenge.
Or could the killer be someone closer to home?
There are several twists in the story.
He had a side piece who just had his baby.
The lies get even more bizarre. I felt lost. I felt betrayed. My family, myself, everyone, we were just in disbelief.
June 18th, 2017, Detroit, Michigan. It's a lazy Sunday in the Motor City.
Detroit, it has its ups and downs. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of struggles.
I worked homicide for about 10 years, and I think that the police are doing as best as they can.
At 7 a.m., 30-year-old Jada Martin is walking her dog when she notices something odd.
A car is parked in front of her neighbor's house she hasn't seen before.
But that's not what catches her attention.
There's someone in the back of the car.
It's a young woman who initially looks like she's sleeping.
However, it's soon clear to Jada that the woman isn't asleep.
She's completely unresponsive, and it doesn't look like she's breathing.
Jada rushes up to her neighbor Amani Dixon's door.
Hey, Jada. What's going on? Yeah, there's a woman outside. She's in that car. I tried knocking. She's not waking up. I think there's something wrong. Yeah, come here. Come on.
Jada leads Amani over to the car and shows her what she saw.
Oh my God, that's Letitia. Letitia!
Amani says she's met Letitia before. Letitia has been dating a friend of hers.
But Amani doesn't know why Letitia is outside her home in this condition.
We need to call 911. Hello?
Letitia Barganier was a social butterfly from the day she was born.
She was the livest one out of the group. Energetic, just the best energy. She was a wonderful person, and she just would make the room glow. Whatever she could do to put a smile on that person's face, that's what she was gonna do.
But growing up in the streets of Detroit wasn't always easy.
It's hard to grow up here in Detroit. Struggle, drugs, violence, everyday life, trying to survive.
And as a teen, Letitia had fallen prey to the temptations around her.
She didn't have a good childhood, far as in following the rules and running into the wrong crowd. It made her like skip school and involve herself in activities that wasn't good for her. She didn't finish school, but she knew all the rules to the streets. She was a great hustler.
Life in the fast lane eventually caught up with Letitia, and at age 29, she ended up in jail after a string of traffic violations.
Once she was released and came home, she was just talking to me like, I just want to do better. The way she started changing and the way she started doing things different, it made me happy.
And as she made a fresh start, Letitia set her sights on a career.
She did want to be a hairstylist. I would watch her, doing somebody's hair, and it was like, how did you know how to do that? How did you know how to braid? She used to do basically everybody's hair in the family. She was talking about getting a job and just doing better for herself.
Letitia wasn't doing it alone either. She had a burgeoning relationship with an old friend, 37-year-old Demetrius Montgomery.
What's up, girl?
What's up?
When he came around, you could just tell that she had butterflies. They had that crazy kind of relationship. Like, they both goofy, they fight, like, that type of relationship. My family was close with a lot of his family. So there was, a tight-knit bond there. Okay. Everybody knew him and everybody accepted him. He came to birthday parties, all different types of family functions. Us all growing up in the same neighborhood, it was like he was a part of our family.
When Demetrius moved a half hour away to the neighboring town of Ypsilanti, Letitia went with him.
I mean, just the way she would be with him, like she would stop at nothing to be with him. They was in love for sure.
Letitia was ready to start fresh, and she wanted to do that with Demetrius.
Letitia had even landed a job at a local salon.
She was supposed to start working that Monday. I was proud of her that she was on the right track. I seen her go through so much, and I wanted nothing but greatness from her.
But now, Letitia's promising future is in jeopardy.
Letitia! We need to call 911. Hello?
A call comes in reporting a non-responsive woman in the back of a car.
Yeah, there's a woman outside my friend's house. She's not waking up. We're knocking. She's not waking up. We need help.
Officers are dispatched to the location. When they arrive, there's an SUV parked in front of the home. They see the young Black woman laying in the back seat.
After jimmying the car door open, officers are able to get inside the vehicle.
They try to awaken her, but they get no response.
It's immediately clear that the woman is deceased.
At that point, the officers secure the scene and radio for backup.
Yeah, we've got one unresponsive here. Go ahead and start EMS, please.
Finding out what happened to her will be easier said than done.
They didn't know what was wrong. She didn't have any blood on her.
They see no obvious signs of trauma. So how did this young woman die?
After several troubled years on the streets of Detroit, 29-year-old Letitia Barganier was making a fresh start with her old friend turned new boyfriend, Demetrius Montgomery.
As she got older, she started changing for better. She was really in love. She was starting to turn her life around.
Letitia had even moved with Demetrius to Ypsilanti, Michigan, where they shared an apartment.
She was supposed to start a new job at a local hair salon.
But now, instead of embarking on a new career, Letitia is dead.
Police have found Letitia deceased in the back of an SUV in West Detroit.
31.
She was over 30 miles away from her home in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
How did she die? When detectives arrive on the scene, they're just as puzzled as first responders.
Police didn't initially see any blood or signs of trauma.
They're thinking she may have died from natural causes or possibly OD'd on something.
However, upon closer examination, it's clear there's foul play involved.
There. Look at her arm.
They found out that she had cuts on her arms.
That indicated defensive wounds.
A closer examination of her body reveals a large stab wound to her abdomen. It's very clear that she had been attacked.
There's no doubt that Letitia has been brutally murdered.
But the condition of the vehicle doesn't reflect the nature of this crime.
What is strange is that Letitia has been violently stabbed, but the back of the car is pristine and clean.
It was incredibly odd that there was no blood found inside the car.
The lack of blood leads detectives to believe Letitia had been killed elsewhere.
If she had been stabbed in the car, there would have been a lot more blood. But she was completely clean, like she had been washed and dressed and then put in the car.
You took the time to wash her, to bathe her. Like, what kind of monster does that?
Hoping for answers, detectives turn to the two women who discovered Letitia's body, Jada Martin and Imani Dixon.
Imani explained that she's actually familiar with Letitia Barganier.
She says Letitia has been dating one of her friends, Demetrius Montgomery.
The SUV where Letitia's body was found actually belongs to Demetrius.
Do you know where he is?
No, but that's his car.
And you never saw him drive it over here or have had any contact with him in the past 24 hours?
No.
This information sets off alarm bells for detectives.
They found it odd that Demetrius was not around.
Nobody drove his truck but both of them. He wouldn't let nobody else drive it.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Detectives know they need to speak to Demetrius immediately. After getting his number from Imani, they give him a call.
We're gonna need you to come down to the station to answer some questions, Demetrius. Thank you. You said absolutely.
Back at the station, detectives sit down with Demetrius.
He seemed shocked to learn from police that Letitia is dead.
He's also shocked that her body was found in the backseat of his car.
He immediately has an explanation about why his car wasn't in his possession at the time Letitia's body was found.
He tells them that his car had been stolen outside of his apartment.
When was that?
About a week ago.
Demetrius says he hasn't seen Letitia in almost as long.
He also says that he and Letitia had a big fight and they broke up and he hasn't seen her in several days.
You know how it goes. She starts getting on me about something, then she ghosts me.
You think she may have been the person to take the car?
It's definitely possible.
Demetrius also seems to have an alibi.
Demetrius, can you account for your whereabouts over the past 24 hours?
Work, mostly. You know, I picked up some overtime.
And you didn't see Letitia at all?
No.
Demetrius tells investigators that he has no idea of what happened.
However, Demetrius does have another lead for detectives.
He tells them that Letitia ran with a pretty scary crowd.
According to Demetrius, Letitia affiliated with a lot of gangs and drug dealers.
She's been trying to get out of that world, but it's not easy to walk away from.
He tells investigators that recently some of those guys had become angry with her.
He says that Letitia stole as much as $15,000 from one of her drug dealer friends.
This drug dealer, he got a name?
Malik. Malik Thompson. He's not the kind of guy you want to burn, if you know what I'm saying.
Maybe this was a payback.
According to Demetrius, Malik had been publicly slamming Letitia in recent weeks.
Demetrius points the investigators to a series of Facebook posts by this drug dealer.
The guy was adamant about getting the money back or getting revenge.
And in fact, threatens to kill her if she doesn't give it back.
Summer of 2017, Detroit police are investigating the tragic death of 29-year-old Letitia Barganier. For Letitia's loved ones, the news comes as a complete shock.
I dropped down, started throwing up. My body got weak. I just couldn't believe it.
I just was praying it wasn't real.
After talking to Letitia's boyfriend, Demetrius Montgomery, homicide detectives have reason to believe her murder could have been some sort of payback.
He said that she hung out with bad people, she hung out with drug dealers, and she had played on somebody for $15,000.
According to Demetrius, that somebody was 33-year-old drug dealer Malik Thompson.
This guy had been very public about his desire to either get his money back or get revenge on Letitia.
He had made posts on his own Facebook page threatening Letitia.
Detectives immediately bring him in for questioning.
Once in the interview room, Malik initially refuses to cooperate with detectives.
So, Malik, what can you tell me about Letitia Barganier?
Nothing, man. I barely know her.
But when detectives confront Malik with the posts he made on social media, he starts talking.
At that point, he tells them everything.
Man, look, it's not what it looks like.
He admits to making these threatening remarks on Facebook, but he denies having anything to do with Letitia's murder.
I wasn't happy that she ripped me off, but I didn't kill her, all right?
He says he just wanted his money back.
According to Malik, he hadn't even been in town at the time of the murder.
I was in Chicago. There was no way I could have done any of that.
Chicago?
Yeah, I was staying with my cousin.
He offers up an alibi, and it checks out.
Malik also offers up a tantalizing new lead.
He tells police that Letitia wasn't the only one in that relationship that ended up on the bad side of a drug beef.
So what do you mean by that?
Why don't you ask her boyfriend, all right?
He tells him that Demetrius himself was a drug dealer.
Word on the street was that Demetrius had been ripping off some of his business associates.
Maybe Demetrius sold drugs to the wrong people.
Could the rumor be true that he had angered some potential business associates? And are these business associates willing to kill his girlfriend in order to send a message?
But Malik claims Demetrius's drug associates aren't the only people who would have reason to want Letitia dead.
According to Malik, there was another woman in Demetrius's life.
Demetrius had another girlfriend on the side named Simone Robinson.
In fact, Demetrius had gotten Simone pregnant and had a 2-month-old baby with her.
Could Simone have killed Letitia to have Demetrius all to herself? After wrapping up their interview with Malik Thompson, detectives get another piece of information that makes a crime of passion seem more likely than a drug beef.
Once the autopsy came, we found out that she was stabbed multiple times.
In total, there were 17 separate stab wounds, one to Letitia's abdomen, and more than a dozen injuries to her head.
Initially, they couldn't see any stab wounds on her because she had been cleaned up. And when they shaved her head, they could see all the stab wounds at the top of her head.
It was very clear that she suffered some pretty serious wounds, both to her abdomen, her head, as well as her arms.
One of the most disturbing things is that the stab wounds to her head are not the wounds that killed her. The one stab wound to her abdomen was the last punch that killed her.
The knife had tore into the young lady's liver, and that was what the cause of death was. It would have taken at least 12 minutes to succumb to bleeding out.
I'm only imagining begging for her life when one more wound, one more stab, one more punch to her abdomen took her life.
This was clearly a very emotional crime led out by someone who had a bitter resentment against Letitia.
Could that person be Simone Robinson?
If she felt like Letitia was in her way of having a relationship with Demetrius, she had reason to want her dead.
Detectives wanted to speak to Simone right away, and soon they'd get their chance.
June 20th, 2017, Detroit, Michigan. Detectives investigating the murder of Letitia Barganier have just learned that she wasn't the only woman in Demetrius Montgomery's life.
Letitia's boyfriend had a side piece who just had his baby. Could she have decided to kill Letitia for Demetrius' affection?
Usually when someone's stabbed, a lot of times, it's a crime of passion.
Love make you do some crazy stuff.
When detectives bring 30-year-old Simone Robinson in for questioning, she concedes that she and Letitia had butted heads in the past.
Simone admits that Demetrius is the father of her newborn.
I remember one time my cousin actually fought her in front of him. He actually whooped the girl ass.
But Simone insists she had nothing to do with Letitia's murder.
That doesn't mean I killed Letitia.
Simone is horrified when she realizes that she's a suspect. Sure, Simone wanted Demetrius to leave Letitia for her and the baby, but she didn't want her dead.
Although when investigators press Simone for her whereabouts on the night of the murder, she offers up a flimsy alibi.
She says she was home all night taking care of the newborn.
Police have no choice but to let Simone go for the time being.
All right, Simone, we appreciate your time. Let's walk you out.
It is nearly impossible for police to prove or disprove what she says.
They didn't charge her because mainly they didn't have enough evidence to charge her.
However, as detectives are wrapping up their interview with Simone,
Homicide.
they get a call from Letitia and Demetrius's landlord that will turn the case on its head.
The landlord went into the house to get something, and that's when they actually discovered the crime scene.
No, thank you. Yeah, we'll be over there immediately.
When detectives make the half-hour drive to Demetrius and Letitia's apartment in Ypsilanti, they discover a treasure trove of evidence.
When they walked through, the first thing they noticed on the couch was the bloody knife.
When they went into the bedroom, they found 2 more knives.
Both of those knives have broken handles, and the blades also have dried blood on them.
As the detectives continued to investigate, they found a pair of pajamas.
The pajamas have a slash in the stomach area that would match where Letitia was stabbed.
The sheets on the bed are clean, but detectives suspect they have been changed.
There was a garbage bag that had been filled with bloody sheet.
Investigators suspect Letitia's murder took place right there inside the bedroom.
When CSI uses luminol, they discover that there are large quantities of blood in the bedroom.
9 times out of 10, and I should say 10 times out of 10, if a person bleeds that much, that's where the person's going to expire.
The luminol also reveals a trail of blood that leads detectives to the bathroom.
It appeared that Letitia's body had been dragged into the bathroom and washed in the shower until her wound stopped bleeding.
From there, it would have been relatively easy to move Letitia's body from the apartment to the car under the cover of darkness.
For detectives, it's becoming obvious that Demetrius has been lying to them all along.
CSI officers manage to pull fingerprints from the garbage bag that is found with the bed sheets that are soaked in blood. It's a match for prints on file to Demetrius Montgomery.
But where is he now?
Police haven't had any luck getting a hold of him since they last spoke.
It seemed like he may have gone on the run after learning cops were looking into him.
Police decide to circle back around to Demetrius's friend, Imani Dixon, to see if she's heard anything from him in the days since his initial interrogation.
Have you had any contact with Demetrius lately?
Nope. Can't say that I have.
Detectives tell Imani that Demetrius is wanted in connection with Letitia's death and warn her if she knows where he is or is withholding any information of that sort, that she could potentially be charged as an accessory.
Pressed by detectives, Imani finally admits that she wasn't completely upfront with them the last time they spoke.
Imani admits that she saw Demetrius the night before Letitia's body was discovered.
Oh, okay, look. He just showed up out the blue.
She wound up telling him that, well, Demetrius did come by, his hands were bloody, and he did ask her for her SUV keys.
Hey, Demetrius.
Hey, yo, can I borrow your car for the night? I just need it for a few hours.
Okay. But I need it back tomorrow before work, okay?
Imani admits the whole thing seemed a bit sketchy, but she never expected what she'd discover the next morning.
Oh my God, that's Letitia.
She said she hadn't told detectives that she had seen Demetrius that day because she was trying to protect him.
She was also scared what he might do to her if she cooperated with police.
We'll be in contact.
Unfortunately, Imani isn't able to provide much more information.
She swears she has no idea where Demetrius is and hasn't spoken to him since he borrowed her car.
As Detroit police scour the city for Demetrius, detectives decide to switch gears and pull Letitia's phone records.
They're hoping to find out what contact she had with him before she was killed.
And that's when they make another shocking discovery against their prime suspect.
Detectives find a series of disturbing text messages from Demetrius.
Demetrius has been texting her and threatening her. and actually threatened to kill her.
In Detroit, Michigan, homicide detectives now suspect that 37-year-old Demetrius Montgomery murdered his girlfriend, Letitia Barganier, inside their apartment.
In the 2 days leading up to the discovery of Letitia's body, Demetrius sent her text messages stating that he wished she would die.
They found messages where he was threatening to kill her.
In the texts, Demetrius tells Letitia he can't wait to leave her for the mother of his child, Simone Robinson.
His reasoning was that Simone had a better job and that she had more money and that he could have a better life with her and their newborn.
But if that's the case, why hadn't Demetrius simply ended his relationship with Letitia?
Was it selfish jealousy? He didn't want Letitia anymore, but didn't want anyone else to have her.
As detectives ponder that theory, they receive an unexpected visitor, Letitia's friend, Alexis White.
Lady says she has information on the Letitia Barganier murder investigation.
Have a seat.
Alexis says she'd briefly been roommates with Letitia and Demetrius.
I moved to Cleveland about a few months ago, but as soon as I knew she was dead, I knew he had did it.
Alexis tells detectives that behind closed doors, Demetrius had a sadistic streak he loved to unleash on Letitia.
Their relationship was very volatile.
It was manipulation. It was emotional abuse. It was mental abuse. And that was the cycle that led to the physical abuse.
You saw him get physical with her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was really crazy at what he had did.
She recalled Letitia and Demetrius getting into a fight that ended with Demetrius tackling her to the ground.
Letitia was wearing real long eyelashes that a lot of these young women wear, and he really didn't care for that.
He held her down and he took a lighter, he lit it, and went across her eyelashes and singed her eyelashes off.
There was other previous incidents of domestic violence, but I'd say that was pretty horrible.
It was spiraling out of control.
Despite the worsening abuse, Alexis says Letitia refused to break things off with Demetrius.
When it comes to domestic violence cases, it does happen quite frequently where the victim in the case decides they don't want to press charges.
The perception that it's easy to leave is the furthest from true. It's many factors that can play into why an individual doesn't just leave.
For years, the couple had managed to hide the violence from Letitia's family.
What's up? Once I met him in 2007, he was a sweetheart. He was actually really nice.
He always acted cool when we was around. I never thought that it would be him that killed her.
With the help of Letitia's family, police launch a citywide manhunt to bring Demetrius to justice.
Everybody was outraged about this, and family, friends, strangers were out looking for him, posting on social media, asking had anybody seen Demetrius Montgomery.
It was times I felt like I was a detective because I wasn't giving up. I don't care what time of night, day it was. I was looking into stuff myself.
Everybody in my family, they went to the extra mile to make sure that he got the consequences that he needed.
In the end, it's a routine traffic stop more than 700 miles away that finally brings Demetrius head-to-head with law enforcement.
On June 25th, 2017, officers in Lincoln, Alabama, pull over a Dodge Charger for failing to stop at a stop sign.
They noticed that passenger opens the door, gets out, and starts running. And that triggered them to pursue him.
They chased him. Finally, they wound up tasing him.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. He's trying to actually take the taser from the police and tase the police.
The officers placed Demetrius under arrest.
They find that there's an open warrant for him in Detroit for the murder of Letitia Bagonier.
He's then extradited back to Michigan, where Detroit detectives cannot wait to question him about Letitia's murder.
But when detectives get Demetrius back inside the interrogation room, what he says will throw them for a loop.
Demetrius swears he's innocent and can lead police to the real murderers. He tells the police he saw the men who did it.
I swear to God, man, it's the honest truth.
2 weeks after police found his girlfriend, Letitia Barganier, stabbed to death in the back of his SUV, murder suspect Demetrius Montgomery is now in custody. But even when confronted with the damning evidence found inside the apartment he shared with Letitia, Demetrius refuses to admit any wrongdoing.
When detectives speak to Demetrius, he continues to deny having anything to do with Letitia's murder.
Demetrius, we know.
You killed her in the
I
apartment.
swear it wasn't me.
Now there are several twists in the story.
According to Demetrius, he and Letitia were at home watching TV on the night of June 17th when the front door burst open.
That's when two men broke into their apartment and held the two of them at gunpoint.
Demetrius tells police he's convinced the two masked men were connected to the drug dealer Letitia had ripped off.
Supposedly, they said that Letitia owed them $15,000.
Where's my mom? Well, let's go. Let's go.
He says one of the guys took Letitia to another room.
Demetrius says Letitia and the assailant weren't in the other room for long.
They came back a few minutes later with Letitia holding her stomach, and the man stated that he had to stab Letitia in order for her to give up the location of the money.
Demetrius claims that once they had the cash, the intruders left as quickly as they had come.
You okay?
Yeah.
He says that once the intruders leave, him and Letitia sit on the couch and laugh about what happened.
That was crazy. What? He claims that Letitia said that, oh, he just poked me a little bit. It didn't really hurt.
To detectives, this claim sounds bizarre.
The more he went on, it just became increasingly more ludicrous.
Regardless, they let Demetrius continue on with his story.
We thought they would come back, though. That's why we went to my friend Amani's place.
According to Demetrius, the idea was to get out of town until things blew over.
He says they'd changed out of their pajamas, grabbed a few things, and got in the car to head to Detroit. But Letitia was exhausted after the ordeal.
He claimed that she decided to lay down in the back seat so she could take a nap during the drive.
However, when they arrived at Amani's house, Demetrius says he realized that Letitia's injuries were more serious than she initially let on.
According to Demetrius, that's when he realized she was dead.
He says he panicked and decided to borrow Imani's SUV to flee the scene. He knew this looked bad.
So why didn't you tell us all this in the beginning? I didn't think you'd believe me.
Demetrius is right. Detectives don't believe a word of his story.
It certainly didn't account for the excess of blood police discovered all around the apartment.
She got stabbed 17 times, including major organ damage.
Anybody that you love, if anything was to go wrong with them, you're going to try to get the first responders. You're not trying to drive miles away.
That just shows you the type of sick individual that he was. You're really sitting here still degrading this woman, making it seem like she had done something so wrong and went out and got herself murdered when all along you know what you did to her.
Detectives charged Demetrius with first-degree murder.
When we found out he was caught, it was almost like a celebration in the family.
But when the trial gets underway in May of 2019, the family's elation has given way to grim resolve.
It was very difficult going to court because we have to sit and look at this man. We want to tear his head off, you know. It was mixed emotions everywhere, but it was well worth it because we definitely needed justice for her.
According to the prosecution, the crime scene paints a clear picture of how Letitia died.
Demetrius Montgomery murdered Letitia in order to get her out of the way so that he could have this life with the mother of his child.
They say that the murder began with an argument in the kitchen.
What do you mean it's over?
It's you mean what I mean. Why can't you get through your head? We're done. It's over.
They got into an altercation. A fight broke out.
At some point in the fight, Demetrius grabs a knife and starts stabbing her.
The attack is so violent that the knife breaks, and Letitia takes this opportunity to run towards the bedroom.
Demetrius grabbed another knife and followed her.
In the bedroom, Demetrius continued attacking Letitia.
She did try to fight back. It wasn't enough. I mean, she's fighting against a grown man.
When the second knife breaks, he then runs back to the kitchen, grabs a larger knife, goes back to the bedroom, and that's when he stabs Letitia in the abdomen.
When the knife hit her liver, that was almost an automatic death right there.
Once Letitia was dead, Demetrius got to work covering his tracks.
First, he dragged Letitia's body into the shower and washed off all the blood.
I believe he was more worried about blood getting in his car than he was about the life that he had just taken.
Then he cleaned up the apartment and drove her corpse to Detroit.
But when it's the defense's turn to argue their case, they say Demetrius is innocent, and Letitia's real killers are still on the loose.
They stick with Demetrius's story about two intruders forcing their way into the apartment.
The defense pointed out that there was a bloody shoe print at the apartment.
The shoe print doesn't match any of the shoes that Demetrius owns.
They argued that that was proof that somebody else was at the apartment.
However, after both sides rest, the jury quickly sides with the prosecution.
The jurors ultimately find him guilty of first-degree murder.
He was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
When we received the verdict of life, like just the word life to me, like to all of us, it was joy. It was a relief for me and for my family. I was actually happy because this is a point in time where you're not getting off the hook. Justice have got served. I was the one that gave the victim statement at the end of court. And this man says to me, Aunt Cornetta, you know I ain't murdered your sister. Oh, it took everything in me, everything. Like I am standing here looking a murder in his face that killed my sister. And you have the audacity to tell me you didn't do it?
Letitia's family hopes that by sharing her story, they can help other women avoid a similar fate.
There's so many more Letitia Banganiers out there.
It was like losing a big sister, a role model, someone you love dearly. I miss her so much. I just say it all the time, love doesn't hurt. Love is not a punch or a slap. That's not love.
Walk away from that situation before it gets too...
She was a bright young college student with big dreams.
She wanted to be able to work with the kids in the inner city.
She was going to change the world.
But then she vanished.
Girl, where are you?
She didn't show up for classes.
It was a big thing on campus.
There was a student missing.
She just disappeared into thin air.
Was danger stalking the dorms?
People thought maybe someone kidnapped her.
There may have been a predator on campus.
There's this sense, am I safe? Look, you ain't going nowhere.
Or was the truth more disturbing than anyone could imagine?
I am so devastated still.
The family has been torn apart.
No one prepares you.
I just started breaking down.
That monster took my child's life.
April 20th, 2013. It's Saturday night in Willimantic, Connecticut, a quiet New England town and home to Eastern Connecticut State University.
It's a beautiful campus. I would say it's not too big, not too small.
The school is part of the Connecticut State University system and is probably at this point the primary economic driver of the downtown area.
Main Street is where there are different restaurants, there are bars.
Although this particular weekend, the bars and restaurants on Main Street are mostly deserted.
When it gets close to the end of April, beginning of May, most students are prepping for finals.
But in one dorm, the studies of Eastern sophomore Sade Burke are interrupted by a text from friend and classmate Alicia Wiley.
Alicia had gone to Bridgeport earlier that day to visit her boyfriend, Jermaine Richards.
Around, I would say 9:30, she let me know that she was heading back to Eastern. And she told me that she was going to visit me at my dorm. I was waiting for her to text me when she got back.
From Bridgeport to campus is about an hour-and-a-half drive.
Just after 11, Alicia texts her friend Sade that she was in Willimantic.
She said she was walking up the hill because there's a hill that leads up to my dorm. So I waited. And then I heard nothing.
Alicia Wiley never arrived at Sade Burke's room.
20-year-old Alicia Wiley grew up in West Haven, Connecticut with her mother and 3 sisters.
Growing up, she was the one that would keep the peace among her and her sisters.
They were a very loving family. Alicia's mother was very devoted to her 4 daughters.
And it was her mother who inspired the drive and determination that would one day take Alicia to college.
I taught my girls their way out and their way up and their way through was through education.
Alicia had a love for education. In fact, in her sophomore year of high school, she started taking college credits.
I was a stickler about them getting their education, but wanted them to be well-rounded young women. So she had a lot of extracurricular things that she would do.
Her hard work paid off, and after being courted by numerous colleges, Alicia chose Eastern Connecticut State University.
She was able to go get a full ride.
Once at Eastern, Alicia's drive made her a natural leader.
She was active in a student group called Females, which was an organization that promoted career opportunities and other enrichment opportunities for young women on campus.
Females did a lot of community service. We also did a lot of things together so that we can strengthen our sisterhood and create a bond.
However, Alicia's strongest bond was with her boyfriend, Jermaine Richards.
Alicia was 16 years old when she met Jermaine.
She was dating him since she was in high school, and she was very much in love.
However, there was one problem.
He was about 10 years older than she was.
But that didn't bother Alicia.
She just had a real good connection with him. He understood her. He got her.
What you want to see later on tonight?
Something funny. He seemed so much more mature, and he took her ambition seriously.
Still, Alicia had initially kept the relationship hidden from her mother.
I learned about Jermaine when Alicia was 17. And the way I learned about it, she was a half hour late after curfew. And I had called the gentleman whom I thought she was dating. And, He was like, no, I haven't heard from Alicia. We haven't dated in almost a year now. And I was like, wait, what? So when Alicia came home, I was like, what was you doing?
Mom, before you get upset, let me explain.
I'm like, oh my God, Alicia, you're pregnant? Please tell me you're not pregnant. And she goes, no, no, no. I've been dating this guy, it's been about a year now. And I was like, so why you didn't tell me? And she's like, well, he's kind of older. And I'm like, what do you mean kind of older?
Alicia's mom had reservations, as most mothers would.
However, once the shock wore off, Alicia's mother allowed her to continue seeing Jermaine.
She was very mature. All my girls were very mature for their age. So I trusted her.
Karina initially thought that this relationship wouldn't last.
I didn't give it much longevity. I was like, okay, she'll move on to bigger and better things.
But once in college and away from her mother's watchful eye, Alicia and Jermaine's relationship only heated up.
The attention he was giving her became more focused and more intense.
He would come to the campus. He would actually stay overnight.
Baby, you leaving?
Yeah. I got class.
Sometimes he would even drive her down to his place for the weekend.
Jermaine lived with his mother in Bridgeport, an hour and a half away from campus.
Her friends on campus didn't often see her during the weekends.
But now, after a quick trip to Jermaine's, Alicia has completely vanished.
After texting her friend Sade and saying she was walking across campus, she just disappeared.
She was coming to my dorm and never showed up. So I stayed up a little longer just to see if she would show, and she didn't. So I assumed that she went back to her dorm.
But on Monday, when Alicia is a no-show for a class they have together, alarm bells go off.
When I called her, it was as if her phone was off.
Hey, it's Alicia. I'm not here right now, but go ahead and leave me a message and I'll call you back when I can.
Girl, where are you? Call me back, please.
She does not miss class. We take school way too serious.
That's when people became very concerned.
She wouldn't just disappear unless something was wrong.
At Eastern Connecticut State University, there was little doubt that 20-year-old Alicia Wiley was going places.
Alicia had done so well in high school that she earned a full scholarship. She studied both psychology as well as biology so that she could attend medical school and become a psychiatrist.
She wanted to come back and work with the kids in the inner city to, help them work through a lot of things.
But now, Alicia's bright future may be in jeopardy.
Saturday night, Alicia texted her friend Sade and said she was coming over, but she never showed.
Alicia also didn't show for her Monday morning class.
Girl, where are you?
Monday's the day that we have our science class together, and she didn't show up, and I was freaking out. I'm, asking a bunch of people questions if they've seen her. They said no. She hadn't attended any of her classes.
After following up with her friends, Sade goes to the campus police.
At that moment, I knew it was real and something was wrong.
I would like to report a missing student, my friend Alicia Wiley. These are the last time I talked to her.
I went down to campus safety and they started asking me questions.
Okay. So that text message Saturday was the last time you heard from her?
Yes.
They started asking me who was the last person she was with, and I let them know about Jermaine because, of course, she was with him last.
But he dropped her off.
The last text message from Alicia, she said she was actually walking up the hill.
Was she having any trouble in her classes?
At the end of the semester, there's a tremendous uptick in potential stress because you're trying to study and you're trying to juggle and manage all of your classes and get papers turned in.
But according to Sade, Alicia always stayed on top of her schoolwork.
We were always in the library. We were always studying. And Alicia took that very serious.
No, she would never skip class.
Eastern Connecticut State University Police very quickly realized that there is a significant situation on their hands.
After talking to Sade, campus authorities request officers make contact with Alicia's family.
West Haven Police Department had come to our house about 3:15 in the afternoon. And he had said he was coming to inquire about Alicia Wiley. And I was like, why? And he said Alicia had not been seen on the college campus since April 20th. And my world, my life, all ended.
Karina was frightened and overwhelmed and scared for her daughter's safety.
I said, you have to understand, this is what she's been working for all this time. She's not going to just walk away from that and not let her family know.
After the interview, West Haven police call in reinforcements.
The investigation is now ramping up, and they call in the Eastern District Major Crime Squad.
One of the first things the state police investigators do is reach out to Alicia's boyfriend, 30-year-old Jermaine Richards.
The state police interviewed Jermaine Richards to see what he knew about Alicia's disappearance.
This is all my fault.
What do you mean?
I should have just dropped off at the dorm.
He indicated that he and Alicia had gotten into an argument, and she had gotten out of his car near campus.
He said he let her out on Main Street.
It is only 2 blocks to the main entrance of Eastern Connecticut State University.
What was your fight about?
I mean, the typical stuff. She was just in the mood, stressing over finals that week.
As sweet as Alicia could be, she was temperamental sometimes, you know. She just get into her own little moods.
What time did you drop her off?
Like around 11 o'clock.
It was around the same time that Sade had gotten the second text from Alicia.
I got another text message saying that she was actually walking up the hill.
He said the last he saw her was walking up Wyndham Street towards the campus.
What did you do after that?
Just went and got some gas and I went home.
Did you try to reach out to Alicia after that?
No, sir. Kind of wanted to give her time to cool off.
Thank you so much for your time. You're free to go.
After talking to Jermaine, detectives contact his mother, who confirms that Jermaine had brought Alicia by their house on Saturday afternoon.
She said that Jermaine and Alicia were still at the house when she left for work around 5 that evening.
But then, Jermaine's mother says something that really grabs detectives' attention.
While talking to them about Alicia and Jermaine's relationship, she mentioned how happy she was that he had found such a great girl after the toxic relationship he had had with a woman named Latrice.
Jermaine Richards was involved with a woman by whom he had had a child.
According to his mom, their breakup had been ugly.
He had a restraining order against her.
Detectives investigating the disappearance of Alicia Wiley have just learned that her boyfriend, Jermaine Richards, has a volatile relationship with the mother of his child, Latrice Marshall.
After speaking to his mom, she let it slip that Jermaine had a child with another woman.
That relationship had ended. and resulted in a restraining order being imposed.
Now, detectives wanted to know if she had been anywhere near campus the night that Jermaine's new girlfriend disappeared.
That afternoon, detectives bring Jermaine's ex, 28-year-old Latrice Marshall, in for questioning.
They wanted to see if there was any jealousies on her part against Alicia.
But when police tell Latrice that Alicia has gone missing, she appears surprised.
So you don't know anything about that?
Why would I?
Because she took your boyfriend.
No, she can have him.
She told the officers that she was done with him and she had nothing to do with Alicia's disappearance.
So why'd he take a restraining order out against you?
Because he's a liar.
Latrice claimed that it was just a tactic on Jermaine's part just to make it harder for her to get child support.
And if you want to find Alicia, you ought to talk to Jermaine.
Why's that?
She said Jermaine was a very manipulative person and very controlling.
Is Latrice telling the truth about Jermaine? Or is she just trying to divert suspicion from herself?
And where were you Saturday night?
Home. I have a 4-year-old.
She also said that her mother could vouch for her.
When detectives follow up with Latrice's mom, she confirms that her daughter was home that night.
But when detectives dug into Latrice's insinuation that Jermaine had something to do with Alicia's disappearance, they also came up empty.
He had no criminal record. They weren't able to find anything that would indicate that he was capable of harming Alicia.
Detectives also find video surveillance that confirms at least some of Jermaine's account on the night Alicia disappeared.
A gas station camera established that he did indeed purchase gasoline on the main street in Willimantic, roughly around the time that the texts were sent to Sade Burke.
Detectives also searched through the campus surveillance footage, hoping for a hint of what happened to Alicia.
They pulled the footage from the surveillance cameras on her likely route back from where she was let out to her dorm room.
But there's no footage of Alicia walking across campus.
However, since it was a few blocks from Main Street to campus, whatever happened to Alicia could have happened just off campus.
All anyone knew is that she had gotten out of Jermaine's car and was walking back towards campus.
People thought maybe that, this could have been someone who kidnapped her.
So maybe there was a predator on campus.
Days pass with no sign of Alicia, and the family mobilizes to conduct their own search in parallel to the police.
We were on social media. We got search groups together.
She got her neighbors, the family. There were so many people out looking for Alicia.
They posted pictures. They talked to people.
The family also makes a public appeal for help finding Alicia.
I just told them about my baby. I told them who she was and that she was taken. She didn't walk away. She wasn't missing, but she was taken. And I just wanted her back.
But when detectives pull Alicia's phone records, they start to wonder if her mother's wish will ever come true.
After the text messages to Sade Burke, there is no communication ever again from Alicia Wiley's cell phone.
However, the phone records also reveal that Sade wasn't the only person Alicia had been texting that evening.
There are texts from her telephone to the telephone of a friend of hers, a young man.
He was a fellow Eastern student named Darius Jensen.
There's an exchange of texts, and she said, "What time do you get off work?"
They were supposed to be meeting at 11 p.m. that night.
Investigators searching for 20-year-old Alicia Wiley now know that shortly before she disappeared, she was planning to meet with a fellow student named Darius Jensen.
They were supposed to meet up that evening after he got off from work at 11 p.m.
It was roughly around the time that the texts were sent from Alicia's phone to Sade Burke.
She told me that she was going to visit me at my dorm.
It made detectives wonder if Alicia had simply forgotten about her prior arrangements with Darius, or if she was purposely blowing him off.
To find out, detectives bring Darius in for questioning.
He might have been responsible for her disappearance.
Darius seems willing to cooperate when he sits down with detectives.
He didn't deny that he was texting Alicia that night.
We've known each other for years.
He was someone that was a good friend of Alicia's since they went to high school.
In fact, he told the officers that they had been dating at one point.
So was this like a booty call? Nah, it wasn't like that. We were just gonna just hang out.
He insisted that they were just friends at this point.
So why'd you two break up? You know, she met someone.
He said Jermaine was the reason that they had broken up.
However, that's not all that Darius has to say about Jermaine.
He told the officers that it was really Jermaine who they should be looking at.
And why is that?
Well, I ran into her a few days ago.
Alicia had confided in him that Jermaine had become very controlling.
It seemed as though the love was fading. It also seemed as though she wasn't happy more so because she felt like she couldn't breathe, that the relationship was more on the suffocating end.
He was very jealous, possessive, wanted to control her. And I think once Alicia went off to college, she matured and she wasn't sure that he was the right person for her.
He said she was trying to break up with him.
She wanted to end it, and she was concerned about how he would react to that.
If Darius is telling the truth, could that explain Alicia's disappearance?
If Alicia was trying to break up with Jermaine, that would definitely give him motive.
Regardless of their suspicions, they still needed to rule out Darius.
So what did you do Saturday night since Alicia didn't show? I went back to the dorm.
Okay, you're free to go.
When detectives follow up on Darius's story, his alibi checks out.
In order to get into any of the dormitories, you have to have like a key fob to get in.
The college records reveal that he entered the building a little after 11 p.m.
Detectives also pulled the surveillance footage from his dorm, and it confirmed that Darius was alone.
Darius appears to be another dead end.
No one had any information. We did not know what had happened.
The detectives were very open about how the investigation was going, but I was convinced that Alicia was alive.
But when a new witness contacts detectives, all of her hopes could be shattered.
A friend of Jermaine, Xavier Barnes, came forward.
Me and Jermaine, we grew up together.
A period of time had gone by where they had not seen each other. And then in the spring of 2013, they began to see each other a bit.
We were hanging out and he started talking about, that missing girl.
Alicia Wiley.
Yeah.
Richards confided to this friend that things weren't perfect with Alicia.
He told him about a time that Jermaine came over and was telling him about social media messages that Alicia had sent, telling him that she wanted to break up with him.
But it was what Jermaine said to Xavier that raised red flags.
During the course of this discussion with his friend, Richards said she doesn't know who she's messing with.
It's not over. You're not going nowhere. I really think he did something to her.
Xavier believed Jermaine was responsible for Alicia's disappearance.
Where you think you going? You ain't going nowhere. What's wrong with you? I don't.
A friend of Jermaine Richards has just told detectives investigating the disappearance of 20-year-old Alicia Wiley that Jermaine had made threatening statements about his missing girlfriend.
According to his friend, prior to her disappearance, Jermaine had said, quote, he was going to get rid of Alicia.
He was like, she doesn't know who she's messing with.
When the friend inquired as to what he was talking about, Richards replied, I know what I'm doing.
What did he mean by that?
He ain't say.
Xavier also tells detectives that he texted Jermaine after he heard that Alicia was missing.
He had asked about what happened to Alicia, and Richards never replied. Certainly, one in that position, when asked that question, if he wasn't responsible, would have vehemently denied it.
Coupled with what Alicia's ex Darius had told them about Jermaine, detectives decide it's time to take a closer look at the missing woman's boyfriend.
Jermaine's the last person that detectives can place with Alicia. It was at Jermaine's house in Bridgeport that Saturday afternoon.
Have a seat, man.
Hoping to learn the truth about the couple's relationship, detectives circle back to her friend, Sade Burke, who opens the interview with a stunning admission.
There was some things I didn't tell you before.
Certain things Alicia told me in confidence, I wasn't very forthcoming with initially because in my head, everything was okay, which I was hoping and praying. If everything is okay, she would kill me if I revealed any of that information.
But now, 3 days after her disappearance, Sade is willing to lay it all out there.
She realized that something serious had happened to Alicia, and she needed to tell them everything.
I think she was scared of Jermaine.
What makes you think that?
I mean, something she said once.
I don't know how the conversation came about, but we were talking, and out of nowhere, she jokingly says, if I ever go missing one day, just tell them that Jermaine got me.
For detectives, that was a pretty shocking statement.
Sade says she didn't take Alicia too seriously at the time.
You hear of people making comments like that all the time, and Sade just thought Alicia was joking.
But now that Alicia is missing, detectives suspect her joke was deadly serious.
All fingers pointed back to Jermaine.
Detectives figure it's time to sit down with Jermaine a second time.
The officers wanted to interview Jermaine again after learning this additional information. But this time, Jermaine refused to speak.
I don't want to say anything unless I have my lawyer.
Jermaine obtained a lawyer, a very fine lawyer.
When detectives search the home in Bridgeport where Jermaine lives with his mom, the results are almost as disappointing.
Little was found. There was no evidence that his house had been a crime scene.
However, detectives don't walk away entirely empty-handed.
2 video tapes were found that depicted various types of violent deaths, including a scene of dismemberment, an elevator accident where people were crushed in the elevator, plane crashes, and things like that.
That really is very disturbing. And it seemed very grotesque and horrible.
There's nothing inherently illegal about Jermaine's secret stash of snuff films, but it does give detectives a sinking feeling.
It became clear that, this would not have a good ending.
A follow-up search warrant only increases the detective's sense of dread.
During the course of the investigation, the police learned that Jermaine Richards had a rental property in the town of Ansonia, some miles north of Bridgeport. The police executed the search and seizure warrant there and found no evidence. They did, however, find that the bathroom had been ripped out in that house.
It had been gutted just days after Alicia disappeared.
They did find a receipt for a new bathtub.
Now detectives were wondering, was Jermaine's brand new bathroom actually a crime scene?
But if that was the case, where is Alicia now? A possible clue comes when detectives pulled Jermaine's phone records to trace his movements after he supposedly dropped Alicia off a few blocks from campus.
The route that he takes is to go east towards Hartford and then down Interstate 691 to Interstate 84 and down Route 8 back to Bridgeport.
But according to the phone records, he also took a last-minute detour.
His phone was hitting off of a cell tower in the vicinity of a road called Quarry Road. This road dead-ended in a wooded rural area.
His phone records, snuff videos, a new bathtub, cryptic comments that were made to Xavion. Yeah, it wasn't looking very good for Jermaine.
The mood is grim when detectives search the area, almost a month after Alicia first disappeared.
That area contained rocky terrain, wooded terrain, and would be invisible from the highway.
See what we got here.
Got another bag over there, too.
It was at that point that they found a leg and an arm.
He cut her up and threw her away in the trash.
Connecticut State Police have just discovered human remains in an area Alicia Wiley's boyfriend, Jermaine Richards, visited on the night she disappeared.
After searching through Jermaine's phone records, they were able to note one of his last locations.
The hit on that cell tower led police to the remains of Alicia Wiley. Her entire body was not found, only an arm and a leg in a substantial state of decomposition.
It was clear at that point that she had been dismembered.
It will take DNA analysis to confirm the identity of the remains, but detectives are fairly certain they found Alicia.
The detectives came to the house and no one prepares you. No one prepares a parent to have to learn that not only was their child murdered, but that she was dismembered.
The next day, the autopsy confirms that the body is that of Alicia Wiley.
We don't know the mechanism of death. What we do know is that she was dismembered by somebody who knew what he was doing. Somebody with knowledge of anatomy, somebody that knew how the human body was put together well enough to take it apart.
Jermaine, her boyfriend, he was a nurse.
The mosaic of what happened becomes very clear.
For someone to have the ability to kill someone they claim they love and dismember their body, you have to be really sick and demented.
With the body identified as Alicia, the detectives take 30-year-old Jermaine Richards into custody on murder charges.
There was so many things that just kept hindering our investigation. And we were blessed to have a group of individuals that were determined to bring him to justice. And I'm grateful for that.
When Jermaine goes on trial on February 6th of 2015, the prosecution contends that Alicia's murder was a clear case of domestic violence.
Alicia was trying to break up with him.
He said she doesn't know who she's messing with.
So on the evening of April 20th, Jermaine had exacted his revenge.
Prosecutors weren't exactly sure how or where Jermaine killed Alicia, but they were certain he dismembered her remains in the bathroom of his rental property.
Once Alicia's body had been dismembered and bagged up, he'd loaded her into the trunk and driven to her college. Then he used Alicia's phone to text her friend Sade.
It's our theory that Jermaine Richards actually sent those texts.
The prosecutor's theory would also explain the conflict between those messages and Alicia's messages about meeting up with her friend Darius.
Finally, after planting the false lead, Jermaine had driven home, taking a brief detour to dispose of the body.
Jermaine's phone pinged off an area where they found the body parts.
He'd also remodeled the bathroom in his rental house to erase all the forensic evidence.
The only coherent theory that reconciled all of the evidence was that Jermaine Richards did it. And in fact, that's the essence of a circumstantial case.
But will it be enough to secure a conviction?
The defense tried to raise a reasonable doubt based on the fact that we didn't have a complete body and we didn't have a primary crime scene.
When the jury retires, deliberation drags on for 8.5 days.
They were unable to come to a decision.
That first trial ended in a hung jury.
I thought to myself, how? They heard his inconsistencies. What part did they miss?
Justice did not serve us at all. That monster not only took my child's life and cut it short, but he dismembered her. The judicial system is horrible when it comes to Black and brown women seeking justice. She would not be another young Black woman that people forgot about. And I meant that then, and I mean it now.
But will the family ever see justice for Alicia?
The second trial ended in a hung jury.
It was hard for her mother to cope with that.
Even worse, on the eve of Jermaine's third trial for the murder of Alicia, the family experiences another heartbreaking tragedy.
August 17th, 2017. My oldest daughter, Shaquanika Brody, and my oldest granddaughter, Myjaya Richardson, were murdered. Myjaya was brutally tortured by my daughter's live-in boyfriend of 4 years, who was not the father of my grandchildren.
Despite her grief, Alicia's mother never abandons her quest for justice.
To have this happen twice, 2 daughters and a granddaughter, and to be able to get up in the morning and to face life with this tremendous weight on her shoulder. She is an anomaly and an incredible, courageous person.
I don't call myself a victim. I call myself a victor because I'm overcoming. My family, we're all victors because we're overcoming.
But will they be victorious when Jermaine stands trial a third time?
First 2 times, we ran the same play. We felt as though we had to account for all the evidence. For the third trial, we changed focus. We made it a story of domestic violence.
They brought in an educator on domestic violence so that the jury was aware of the signs.
The most dangerous time for someone in an unhealthy relationship is the breakup of that relationship.
Came here to break up with you.
Jermaine Richards could not deal with the fact that Alicia Wiley wasn't interested in him anymore. And that was the motive for taking her life.
For the perpetrator, if you can't be with me, then I don't want you with anyone else.
Ultimately, it's a winning strategy.
Their trial got us the conviction.
The judge imposed the maximum sentence of 60 years.
I just have to say thank you to prosecutors. They did a phenomenal job.